Hey, welcome back to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click on the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you'd purchase your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today we'll be taking a look at one of the new Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshores self-winding chronograph. This reference number is 26420RO.OO.A002CA.01. That makes this one of the new 43mm case sizes. So I'll be going over all the aspects of this watch, what makes it new, and why you should consider one of these over one of the older references. So starting off with the case, we have, well, in other words, we'll have the case, the dial, the bezel, the crown functions, the chronograph functions, the rubber strap, as well as the little the pin buckle here. That's pretty special as well, and the movement, of course. I'll be going over all of these features and the wearing experience toward the end of the video. So as I was saying, the case, 43mm from finger to thumb. That's basically measuring the size of the bezel. If we're to be honest here, it's basically the entire size here minus the crown guards and obviously the chronograph pushers. That's 43mm from finger to thumb, same as from the 10 to 4 o'clock position, same distance, same diameter, same 43mm. 14.4mm 6, so nothing too new here. Basically the same thickness as you would get from a 44, or just slightly thicker, just barely noticeable compared to the 42mm. But this one fits right in the middle in terms of the overall width and the diameter of the case size. But something to notice here, if you've seen 44mm and 42mm, is that visually the dial actually looks bigger, and I'll go over in a moment why. But first, the case construction here is entirely in rose gold, or pink gold as they call it at Audemars Piguet. The satin brush finishing running from top to bottom, from lug to lug, basically from 12 to 6 on the sides as well as on the front. Even on the front of the bezel, you have the same brushing finish, even on the side with all the pushers and the crown guards as well. And also, the signature look of the AP Royal Oak is that sort of first bevel with a nice high polish flaring outward to the end of the lug on all 4 sides, or all 4 corners, as I should say. All right, now sitting on the front of this case, you have a very thick black rubber gasket holding up this big black rounded octagonal bezel in ceramic. So the newer models of Royal Oak Offshores all have this ceramic type of bezel, you know, save for a few limited editions and stuff like that where they would have different materials. But basically here, the black ceramic gives a very characteristic look, really brings out the black, the depth of this dial. You have the 8 hexagonal screws at each of the vertices for this, this octagonal bezel, with their slots facing in such a way that you have that gestalt visual principle of closure, giving you that sense that they're creating their own circle without actually physically making a full connected circle. So very interesting, very good design choice from Audemars Piguet there. All right, and taking a look here, there's an inner bezel with a matching black with the tachymeter, basically measuring your units per hour based on how far your center mounted chronograph hand goes per minute. All right, and also taking a look at the dial texture here, you have the mega tapisserie pattern. Nothing too new there as well. But what is also new is that the counters for the chronograph and the small seconds have sort of moved from the left side dominance of the dial here, and just moved more to a sort of like bottom heavy look. Feels more like horizontally symmetrical in this regard. And also they've removed the word form or the word mark portion of their logo, so you only have the letter form part of the AP at the 12 o'clock position. You have index hour marks here, all with the nice chroma light, or sorry, the superluminova rather, to give it a nice glow in low light situations. If I turn out the lights here, you can see them quite nicely, with nice green tint to them. And also the Royal Oak hands give it a very nice look as well. Nice overall good composition. Everything fits together very nicely in low light situations. Only a very slight difference at the 3, 6, and 9 counters, obviously to give a little bit more space to the subdials, which are also sort of like a silvered white tone to them with red tips on the chronograph dials, 12 hours and 30 minutes. Respectively for the 3 and 9 o'clock subdials. You have the small seconds at the 6 o'clock. You also have the date aperture at the 4:30. So sort of not a new thing for Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshores or Royal Oaks in general, but just keep that in mind. If you like having it's sort of out of the way and sort of rather low on that visual hierarchy. So honestly, even though it's not exactly symmetrical, it doesn't actually bother me there. It has a black background and the white text for the numerals, the Arabic numerals for the date. You also have a full minute track as well on the inside with, I believe, 1/8 of a second counters to sort of match the movement for this watch. More on that in a second. You also have the center mounted hands here, also in pink gold, same composition as with the AP logo, and the sort of rhodium plated or rhodium toned counters as well. Red tip on that chronograph hand as well. All right, now taking a look here at the functions of the watch. Something I noticed right off the bat is that the crown here, even though it's physically made up of the same material as you typically would find, the ceramic sort of bolt here, or ceramic nut with the rose gold tip for the AP logo, is that it feels a lot smoother. And I think that is largely due to the new in-house movement from Audemars Piguet. It has a very, very smooth wind here, so about 20 to 30 full winds will give you the full power reserve as you typically would get, but there's no weird grinding feeling, there's no crunchiness to it. It just feels incredibly smooth when you wind the watch. It feels like you're not even winding it at all. That's how smooth it is. Pull the crown out to the next position. You can do the quick set for the date at the 4:30. It's about a quarter or half, between a quarter and a half turn, let's say a third of a turn, to advance the date by 1. It feels the same as any other Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore when it comes to ticking that date forward with the quick set. All right, and it gives a very nice satisfying tick as well when you advance it, and you can also feel it in the crown. Just feels extremely satisfying. You pull out the crown to the final position. Note that the seconds hand does stop and the chronograph hand would stop as well, so you can actually set the time precisely wherever it needs to go, or set the minute hand precisely wherever it needs to go based on the position of that seconds hand. Or if you wanted to ignore these small seconds entirely, you can just set it to the center mounted chronograph hand, which actually is used by the vertical clutch, vertical column wheel, so that basically you can keep this running without any damage to the movement. And speaking of this chronograph hand, they introduced some new feature, well, basically one new feature into the chronograph hand, something to really flex their style and their advancement in the movement world. So basically press the top button to get it started, to get it stopped, as you typically would. All right, and it's accurate within about 1/8 of a second, and thanks to the vertical clutch, you have basically a complete and perfect stop each time. And when you press the button, it's actually very, very satisfying actuation when you press it down. And also, if you take a look at the 30-minute dial there, it actually ticks up gradually as the minute passes for the center mounted chronograph hand, so very good there. And also the new feature featured in the chronograph here is the flyback. So just press the bottom button to reset the center mounted chronograph hand and all the subdials back to 0 without having to actually physically stop the watch. So you can do this to measure laps or anything that has multiple timings and multiple repetitions. You can do this on the fly. Well, that's why they call it the flyback chronograph. It just flies back to 0 and you can start measuring your laps like that. So very, very, very interesting and very good from Audemars Piguet to implement this sort of feature in here. Press the top button again to completely stop it. Press the bottom button again to set everything back to 0, and nice and easy there. So I've said enough. I've mentioned the movement a lot, so let's get to it. The movement here is the new manufacturer caliber 26420R.OO.A001. You can see it through the case back with that sapphire crystal, just like you would on the front of the case. The sapphire crystal keeps the internals nice and protected, nice and scratch resistant, and you have the full assembly there. A brand new movement from Audemars Piguet. Gives it a very interesting look. Is there ever a movement that looks bad? No, but it's absolutely beautiful when you take a look at the inside. I'm zoomed in as far as I can go. You also have the sort of, what is this? A radial, not really radial, sort of like a circular finish along the back case with the hallmarks here, because it is made of rose gold. So you do have the hallmarks giving you the indication that you are indeed dealing with rare metals here. In this case, rose gold. So about this movement, it's a full self-winding movement, 32 diameters, fills the entire case here, made just for the 43 millimeters, I believe. It also has a frequency of 4 Hertz or 28,800 vibrations per hour, up from 21,006, which is 3 Hertz. Basically, you get a little bit more precision with the chronograph as well as that seconds hand. So it ticks 8 times per second instead of 6. You also have 381 total parts, 40 of them being jewels. So very, very complex movements here, and that's also to give you that flyback function there, as I showed you. As well as the hacking seconds, all of the tiny little advancements that AP have made in-house to make their movement nice and clean. And also, I should also mention, the water resistance for this is 100 meters or 330 feet below sea level. So you can basically take this wherever you would take a normal sports watch, just not a deep sea diving watch. You get the idea. That's basically what it is. All right, so you also have a 70-hour power reserve with this watch, so you can basically set it down Friday evening. You can pick it back up Monday morning, ready to conduct business. No need to wind the watch, assuming that when you set it down, it was at the full power reserve. If you take a look here at the rubber strap, you have well, nothing too new here with the Royal Oak Offshore strap. You have the intermediate links just sort of creating their own path here through the strap here, although not entirely maintaining the width here. It sort of gives it that sense of movement without actually physically moving, so a very good design choice there. You have 7 pinholes in total with a new Audemars Piguet buckle here. Not only can you see a visual difference with the buckle having a nice high polish little triangle on the corners here to give it a better, form factor, but also it is also a quick release, just like the rest of the strap here. I'll show you that here, and I'll also upload a separate video showing how that works as well. But basically the pin buckle works essentially the same. Just pull it and you can size it on the fly. You also have a nice sandblasting finish underneath with the hallmarks as well. All right, and while I'm here, I can try it on and give you my thoughts as to how it wears on my wrist. 7 inches in circumference. So keeping that in mind, it is kind of a big watch. You'll already know from my videos that I do myself prefer the 36 millimeter watch case sizes all the way up to maybe 40, and anything above that is just excessive. And that's really nothing new here. There's nothing new to report in that regard. But something about this 43 millimeter case size just feels a lot more open, and the reason for that is I feel it's because of the visual aspects here. The dial is really big on this model. All these sub dials very, very nicely spaced apart. Plenty of space among all of them to really open up that dial, as well as the tachymeter, that inner bezel matching black, to just sort of make the dial sort of almost fade into the bezel. So it's as if this entire thing on the case, on the entire front of the case, is the dial. And that's sort of, I think, the aesthetic that they're going for here. Looking down the wrist here, you also have a tiny bit of space under the lugs, at least for me, because this watch does have quite a wide stance, but it also hugs the wrist very nicely because of the rubber straps here. They sort of bend downward, not so much outward as you would get with, say, a diver watch. The downward slope here sort of grips the wrist nicely, and so you can go into the water very easily with this without it slipping around or flipping around or sliding around your wrist all that much. grips the wrist very nicely, and it's very comfortable, very soft as well. All right, so taking a look again at this dial, also gives it that sort of an inverse panda look. So if that's the sort of dial that you're into and you don't mind getting the sort of inverse look of that, currently in 2021, this is what is going for. This is also the only rose gold model in the 43mm model line. There's also titanium and steel, but there's a couple variations of those. This one is the only rose gold model. So it looks quite nice on the wrist, but for me, if I were to wear this at 7 inches in circumference, kind of big, I would recommend this for anyone with, say, 7.5 or larger wrist. But you can certainly wear this if you wanted to down to a 6.5 inch wrist, thanks to the sizing holes on the strap here. Also, let's not neglect the new features of this strap. So first, taking a look at the pin buckle, you can actually remove this very easily without the use of screws. If you look at one of the sides here, there's a tiny little arrow on the side. You can just flip that up. If you flip it up, it exposes what looks like a screw, but actually this is just a little slide. So you just slide it off and there goes the pin buckle. So it's not easy to just flip this open. You will actually have to physically do it yourself. But that's one little aspect that makes this new Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore quite appealing, is that sort of fast and quick interchangeability here. And it does come with a black leather strap. I'm not going to show it here because that's just going to inflate the video way too much. All right, there's also a quick release system for the lugs here, and the very good feature here is that they're in the intermediate links. So you'll need to actually press both of them to actually open it, because if you just press one, it's not going to do anything. You'll have to press both. So I use both my index and middle fingers to open it, and then pull, and it opens up. It comes off nice and easy. So you can do the same thing with the 6 o'clock side, do the same exact sort of feature there, and it snaps right off nice and easy. And you also have that nice clipping system on the inside to give it a very clean click when it goes back in. All right, feels very good. All right, let me reassemble this watch. All right, and there we go. So that's all I have to say about this. Thanks for watching, and be sure to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts about this watch, let us know down in the comments below. Would you be picking up one of these, and do these sort of interchangeable aspects of the watch really sell it to you? Does this dial actually look bigger to you, or am I just seeing things? Let us know down in the comments below. Again, if you enjoyed this video, learned something new, hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video like this one. And as always, if you'd like to purchase this watch or any other watch, visit our store at jazztime.com. Links in the description below, where you can get it for the lowest possible price anywhere online. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page, where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.